Sounds of Spiral Gyre. I believe, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Innovation Thursday Data Analytics Edition. This is Billy here from the team OIP. I'm very happy to be an MC for today. Today, we're going to try something new. We're going to start right on time. So I'm going to basically carry on while we wait for more of our friends to join us. But because we're on a very tight schedule today, tighter than MRT schedule, we're going to be kicking off the webinar right now. So once again, a very warm welcome to ladies and gentlemen to Innovation Thursday, the Data Analytics Edition, brought by IMDA's Open Innovation Platform team, or as we like to call ourselves, Team OIP, on this very lovely Thursday, 9 December 2021. Today is our third Innovation Thursday for Innovation Call 12, our latest Innovation Call on OIP. And today we're starting in the afternoon because it's back to our regular afternoon schedule. Now, in Innovation Call 12, we have 16 business challenges offering over $600,000 in prize money, right, for successful tech solvers, okay? And today's theme, right, it's all about the power of data analytics, right? So we have 5 challenges on show today, on showcase today, and they'll be on the first one is called Environment Aware AI-Enabled Automated Delivery System from the Mandai Wildlife Group. Following that, we'll have a virtual approach to sense, visualize, and optimize artifact mounting by the National Heritage Board, NHB. Third challenge will be search optimization for the B2B product marketplace by Capital. Following that, we'll have hyper-personalized consumer-oriented services by NTUC Income. And the final challenge on showcase today will be smart monitoring for senior care by the Adventist Home for the Elders, right? And the deadline for all these challenges today, as well as for previous challenges we featured in Innovation Thursday, the deadline will be on Friday, 28 January 2022. Once again, the deadline for today's challenges, right, is actually Friday, 28 January 2022. So you do have just over a month and a half to compile all your proposals into one solid, document and send it in for all the challenges, right? So before we begin, right, I'd like to remind everyone that we will take your questions for our presenters, and we will get every presenter to answer at the end of the presentation, right? So basically, if you have burning questions for presenters, right, do feel free to post them in the Q&A box of Zoom, right? So just putting a question for our speakers in the Q&A box of Zoom. If you can help us, right, just indicate who you're asking the question of. So indicate whether it's from Mandai or for NHB or for Capital or for Adventist Home for the Elders or even for NTUC Income, right? And we're able to get our presenters to answer them. We'll try our very best to answer as many as we can today, but if we don't manage to answer your question, right, don't worry. You can write into info@openinnovation.sg. That's our official email for OIP. It's info@openinnovation.sg, and we'll follow up on your behalf, right? Now, for the benefit of our new solvers, right, in the OIP community who are joining us here for the first time today, right, and we get newcomers at every Innovation Thursday, right? We have a very special video that's all about Innovation Call 12. I'm going to invite right now my DJ friend, Mr. Bay, to play the video about OIP Innovation Call 12. Please take it away, Mr. Bay.
Ready to make a difference? As a problem solver, you supercharge businesses by introducing possibilities. Tapping on the Open Innovation Platform for commercial opportunities made easy through a structured innovation process where you can submit your solutions to our business challenges. Shortlisted solutions will begin prototype development, and winning solutions are then adopted and deployed. In our 12th Innovation Call, you can look forward to even more exciting opportunities. Across 16 challenges in AI optimization,
I'm Ryan Han from Mandai Wildlife Group. So we just did a rebranding of the organization. So under the new branding, we have 4 parks. The first one, which everybody is familiar with, is called the Singapore Zoo. The second will be River Wonders, the third will be Bird Paradise, and the last one will be Night Safari. After the 2 challenges on the OIP, we strongly believe in the innovative ideas of the tech solver community. We are so confident that they will rise up to the challenge of creating an AI-powered solution for a smart delivery system that ensures our staff will enjoy a timely delivery of great meals.
immersive media.
I'm Atri. I'm responsible for Asia Pacific strategic planning and business development in Smith & Nephew. Singapore is very well recognized as the technology and digital health hub in Asia Pacific. Smith & Nephew would like to tap into this local Singapore innovation ecosystem in partnership with IMDA to solve complex business challenges. Our first challenge is where we would like to utilize immersive media to simplify and communicate very complex medical devices and technologies to our HCPs. The second area is where we use the power of AI, data and analytics to create the best-in-class training programs for our HCPs. I would really want you guys to come and help us solve these problems together.
Cold chain logistics.
I'm Benjamin, Executive Director of International Cancer Specialists, a cancer screening and treatment center in Singapore established since 2008. The pandemic has hampered access to quality healthcare for millions around the world. How can we transform this crisis into opportunity to deliver life-saving value to patients in the region and beyond? We are particularly looking at partners who will be able to work with us to develop unique solutions for problems in cold chain medical supplies and telemedicine. We look forward to your submissions on OIP to make a difference to healthcare access from Singapore to the world.
And advanced manufacturing.
I'm Andy Lee from the Advanced Manufacturing and Technology Center, A-STAR. The A-STAR Advanced Manufacturing Startup Challenge 2022 is organized by ARTC in partnership with IMDA and A-STAR Central. The theme for this year, Automation 4.0. And there are 3 real industry challenges looking into smart packaging, flexible agile manufacturing, as well as smart inspection. These problem statements are the pain points of our industry's partners that's dealing the real-life problem in their manufacturing processes. We would like to attract, incubate, and scale startups in the advanced manufacturing sectors. We look forward to your participation.
With 600,000 worth of prize monies up for grabs in this innovation call. Hear more from these problem owners by joining our upcoming Innovation Thursday webinars, where you can even pose your burning questions. So what are you waiting for? We want you! Submit your solutions for our challenges at www.openinnovation.sg today.
Okay, remember that very important URL. It's www.openinnovation.sg, and that is the IMDA OIP portal. Okay, right now, allow me to just show you guys a couple of highlights of the OIP portal at www.openinnovation.sg. And basically, it tells you a bit more about how OIP. So basically, OIP, for the benefit of our new friends, right? It's a virtual crowdsourcing platform that bridges the real-world business challenges, right, of our problem owners, right, or even their digitalization opportunities, right? And we open it up to a community, a very diverse and very dynamic community of 11,000 tech solvers, right? Who can offer, their expertise and their technologies and their innovative solutions, right? To all these problem owners, right? So we cut across different domains and sectors, right? Including AI, advanced manufacturing, cold chain logistics, immersive media, healthcare, and so on. So basically, I have about 10 hours worth of stuff to share with you guys about OIP, but in the interest of time, right, I'm going to cut short and say that all the information you need about OIP, right, is available at www.openinnovation.sg, right, including our live challenges. Can you guys see the live challenges? So all our current Call 12 challenges are all listed there with the full details, including how you can actually tailor your proposals, right, to meet the expectations of our problem owners. Okay, and most importantly, I wanted to show you guys this thing called success stories. Right? Basically, people are asking me, okay, so show me, how has OIP both the problem owners and the tech solvers, and we have collated our best of the best showcase, right, on our portal. It's under the success stories section. Can you guys see? You can read our stories, right? So we have updated with some of the latest highlights, including successful projects with for example with NHB, and with Soybill, with the Singapore International Chamber of Commerce and so on. So basically, if you want to find out more about how OIP, right, has galvanized innovation, for both our problem owners and our tech solvers, right, do visit our portal at www.openinnovation.sg, as well as check out the success stories category of our website. Okay, so I welcome you guys to visit right after this webinar. Oh, in the meantime, I believe the clock is ticking for me, and as I need to pass the Olympic torch over to our first presenter of the day. So just allow me to wrap up very quickly. I'd just like to invite everyone to basically follow, the latest hottest news, right, on OIP, right, on the following social media pages, as well as for the OIP EDM. Now, OIP news is shared on our Pixel Facebook as well as LinkedIn pages, because we are both like brother and sister teams. We work very closely together. So OIP team and Pixel teams are like very close teammates, and so we share a lot of our content on this social media channel. So if you want to, please follow the Pixel LinkedIn as well as the Pixel Facebook. I'm going to invite my DJ friend Amira to share the links in the chat group so you can actually click on them to start following us, right? As well as if you want to keep abreast of all the latest happenings on OIP, right? We send out a weekly EDM with all the latest information, including our webinars, our announcements, as well as happenings, related to OIP. So do sign up for the EDM, give you all the latest news. I've asked my colleague Amira to share the link as well. It's at go.gov.sg/OIP EDM. So do sign up for EDM. We promise not to spam you. We only give you the best and the latest news about OIP. Okay, I promise. I solemnly promise. Okay. Okay, basically, ladies and gentlemen, that's all I have to share for you, because we want you to get started hearing, from all our problem owners here today. We have 5 big challenges here to feature, and we are very glad to have the presence of our problem owners to share with us, what they're looking for and how you can help them solve their business challenge. Okay, so before I hand over to our first participant of the day, sorry, our first presenter of the day, Olympic torch is burning in my hand right now. Okay, just to invite everybody once again, if you have burning questions for our presenters, right, do fill in the Q&A box of Zoom so that we're able to compile, consolidate, and then we'll be able to flash the questions later for each presenter, and each presenter will take on questions right after they finish the presentation. Okay, so thank you very much, and I'm gonna start with our very first presenter is from I'd like to welcome back Mandai Wildlife Group. They are a repeat customer of OIP. This is the 3rd time they're back, and the challenge is titled Environment Aware AI-Enabled Automated Delivery System. I believe the problem statement is, right, how can we, as in the Mandai Wildlife Group, provide an environment-aware food delivery system, optimize meal deliveries for on-ground staff across the parks, right? And our first speaker is Mr. Lam Boon Soon. He's the Assistant Vice President of the Transformation Office of the Mandai Wildlife Group, and he has over 15 years of experience in leading and managing group-wide enterprise transformation portfolio and programs in both corporate and public sector environments. And wow, Boon Soon's area of specialization includes technology master planning, industry 4.0, future of work, and so on. So basically, he is the guy to go to for the future of technology, right? And I'm going to right now invite Boon Soon right now to start the presentation. Boon Soon, welcome, and please take it away. Yeah.
Good afternoon, Billy and fellow colleagues from IMDA as well as participants. Can I just check whether I should be sharing the slides or you'll be sharing on my behalf?
We can have it both ways. Boon Soon, we are here to serve you. So if you want to share, you can share now. We can also use the backup slide with us. Yeah.
Sure.
So just let us know. Yeah.
Yeah, I think probably in that case, you just share using your materials.
Okay, I'm going to invite my DJ friend, Mr. Bay, to start sharing. Yeah.
Okay, great. Thank you. Can we go into the full mode, please? Okay, great. Thank you. Okay, good afternoon, everybody. Again, my name is Boon Soon, representing Mandai Wildlife Group. Previously, we were actually known as Wildlife Reserve Singapore. We actually are the owner of the 4 parks that you are aware of: Singapore Zoo, previously called River Safari, Night Safari, and Jurong Bird Park. So we are also in the midst of building up our new precincts. So with that, we are actually going to have additional parks such as indoor attractions. Rainforest Park, Jurong is going to move over, and we are going to also operate together with Banyan Tree a wildlife themed resort. So in addition to that, there's also going to be conventional mice facilities. The land area that we will actually be expanding to is about 2 times of what we have currently, to up to about 120 hectares. Next slide, please. Just a little bit more on the company introduction. Yep. So I think we should be quite good about understanding what we do as a organization. So what I have here is that to actually give a little bit of context is that why are we having this problem statement? Next slide, please. Okay, for most of you who are actually based in Singapore, you will know that actually we operate, as I mentioned earlier, the Singapore Zoo, River Safari, and Night Safari. What happens is that as we start to operate the parks, we have our fellow colleagues who are actually serving the customers and as well as the animal care staff who actually takes care of the animals. So similarly, you will have actually colleagues who are actually on site every day, even probably dealing with F&B operations, retail operations, and as well as giving out probably animal shows as you all would actually typically like to attend. So what happens is that for us as staff, while we are actually doing the day-to-day operations, starting from morning 8 o'clock all the way up to the park closes, our lunchtime location, a little bit of trade secret is that for staff, when we actually have lunch, it's actually being served out at the kitchen and as well as staff canteen from Night Safari. So what happens is that, for example, if I am actually representing a retail shop, what I need to do is that, for a particular lunchtime afternoon, if I have 5 fellow colleagues in my retail shop that day, one of us will actually need to, either by roster or depending on who has got the driver's license, that we will need to actually then drive out from the retail shop whereby we are actually stationed at to the kitchen at Night Safari, using typically a buggy. What you actually see on the right hand side is actually a buggy. For the smaller version, we have the golf buggy, which is a 2-seater, and for the longer version, it's actually a 6-seater. It's about 4 meters long. Okay, so from now on, we will actually have one staff member to actually collect the lunch for the rest of the team members. So that thing itself actually gets replicated across the various teams. So you have one representative maybe from retail, one from the other outlets such as the animal presentation, then your herbivore section will probably have another colleague, then your maintenance crew have another colleague, then maybe even the tram drivers itself will have another 1 to 2 more who actually go to the Night Safari every day to collect the lunch. So what happens is that they will need to step up, even though if it's a busy day, be it a public holiday or even a weekend, somebody need to collect lunch, right? So that's where I think that we feel that there could be opportunities for automation. And what happens? Okay, you may have raining in between. You need to actually wait. You need to, in addition to driving, you also need to, make sure that you are collecting the correct portions, number of packs of vegetarian food and actually number of packs of normal food. In addition to that, sometimes the cookhouse actually also gives out fruits as additional supplement for the staff meals. Okay, next slide please, just to cover a quick route. Okay, how we typically start the day is that depending on where you usually start with, a typical route, if you look at the S&E circle in red, okay, assuming that if you're actually starting from the point whereby the buggies is actually being parked, we have a central area whereby buggies are being parked and actually being charged because these are actually electric vehicles. Okay, then from there, the staff, assuming that he's at the gift shop at the Singapore Zoo entrance, he will need to go to the place whereby the vehicle is actually being parked, go and collect the buggy, go and drive to Night Safari along the one-way routes. That's point one. And then depending on the number of meals that he's collecting that day, then to collect the meals later, I'll give a little bit more of a description and picture illustration. So from then he will actually then move on to point number 2 to drop off the meals, number 3, number 4, number 5. Okay, over here you will see that the route is very linear. Why is that so? Because in the Singapore Zoo itself, we're actually operating a private road. It covers both front of house and back of house. Front of house means that you are actually going to have interaction with the guests. So for example, some of you may have actually visited Singapore Zoo and then you see, buggies actually being driven around and so on. So this is what we mean by front of house. Back of house means that it's our own internal route that's not accessible to the guests. So what happens is that the buggy actually needs to drive through both front of house and back of house roads. And the direction is as such being illustrated because all our roads is actually a one-way road. Okay. Next slide, please. Okay, so a typical collection will start actually about 10:30, between 10:30 to 11 o'clock. But the staff will actually need to step away from their current vocations already, and to actually drive the buggy, collect the buggy, drive the buggy, and then park it near the kitchen, and then you will start queuing. So on the right hand side, you will see actually the picture illustrations for different team members coming in. So they will actually bring their own bags. Then they will also bring a name list because typically for lunch, the staff who are actually on duty for the next day will actually need to place their order to say that whether I'm having lunch or not into the system. So from there, the team representative who is actually collecting their lunch will print out that nominal roll together with the lunch preferences, and then they will go down to the cookhouse to collect. Okay, next slide, please. Okay, so of course, some colleagues, depending on the number of portions that you're collecting, some will come with their own bags, some will just carry in hand. And we do see that the collection, it could range from between 3 boxes to even say 15, 20 boxes, depending on how big is your group size. And of course, as I mentioned just now, there's also fruits along the way. So in the road area itself, you will also have wildlife encounters such as peacock and so on. as well as probably monitor results along the way that you need to drive and be careful of, assuming that you're operating a normal buggy. Okay, moving on next. Okay, so after you collect the box of meal, then you need to of course carry it, and then from there on you actually walk from the kitchen to the buggy after collection. Next picture you see on the right that you need to stack it properly to make sure that it doesn't fall before you drive off. Okay, moving on next. So if you roster on the day whereby there's fruits, and depending if you are not having a bag with you, of course the fruits either goes into the pocket or actually goes into the front of the car. Then for the day which I actually took the picture and followed the routes, then it starts to rain. So as it starts to rain, because the buggy is not fully covered, so depending on the level of rain that you actually have, then you will need to actually both reverse your buggy carefully because it's a one-way road, remember, and also need to protect your fruit from actually getting wet, and you also need to prevent the fruits from actually rolling down into the roads. Okay, moving on. Yep. So as you drive along, you will through the back of house road, you will see the first picture. You need to actually stop for heavy vehicles because our port is still under heavy construction. Okay, second picture, you will see that there is actually a barrier and a gantry, something like EIP gantry. That's actually a demarcation of the front and back of house border areas. And then as you drive onto the public roads, whereby we mentioned as just now, front of house, you will actually need to stop for children, for parents with their young kids who may be running around. And you also need to stop for pram, and as well as even our own in-park trams, you need to stop for those. Okay, moving on. Okay, so once you reach your first point, depending on where is the accessibility route of that tram, you need to walk. So depending on the staff, they may bring an umbrella or they may not, then they will need to walk to the retail shop to actually drop off. So in this case that we are actually showing the example, we are dropping off about 3 boxes. Okay, moving on to the next page. So after that, then you, of course, typically manual route, you just walk back to your buggy points, and then before reaching to the next few stops, you can actually, the staff who is on duty will actually start to call or SMS or even send WhatsApp messages to the rest of the colleagues to say that, our lunch is coming in the next 15 minutes or so, please stand by to collect. Okay, that's already 12 o'clock. Okay, so from now on, we actually drive to the various back of house areas for the staff to actually collect their meals. So on that day itself, as I mentioned, it was raining, so the staff did not collect an umbrella. Then they were actually need to collect the meals. So after all the delivery is done, we will then need to drive back and return the buggy after delivery. Okay, moving on to the next page, please. Okay, the quick summary of the problem statement is that first of all, how might we actually provide a better staff welfare? First of all, being that the meals that we serve, because remember that the kitchen already start preparing it probably about 11 o'clock, then by the time it reaches the staff, is between 12 to 1. So that is actually a time whereby sometimes the food actually gets cold. And in times of rain, the food may get soggy because of rain conditions and so on. So we are actually looking for a possible mechanism and a method to provide warm meals for our staff, and to reduce the need for actually a staff to be on roster, so that they can actually also have meaningful rest time during lunch hour. Okay, next point. How might we optimize? Sorry. Back to the previous page. Okay, point number 2. How might we optimize the number of staff and vehicle required for the staff meal delivery? Okay, as I mentioned just now, in a typical lunchtime, you will see about 20 different buggies from the various teams actually being driven into the cookhouse area for collection. There could be more. And each of the buggy is actually an electric vehicle, as I mentioned just now. Some will carry more load, some will carry less. Some of it, when I say less, it could be, as I mentioned, just 3 boxes. Then for the one that is carrying more, they will actually carry like maybe say 12 to 15 boxes. And along the route, there is actually a likelihood that they may be traveling quite the same path, except when it comes to certain distribution points whereby they actually split and then go along. So we are trying to see whether through the use of AI and data can we actually optimize that route. Think of it as, for those of you who are AI trained, traveling salesman problem. Okay. Point number 3. How might we pilot the use of autonomous vehicles or other technology for staff meal delivery and beyond? Okay, in the current context and example that I have given, it's actually a very simple use case for the POC and as well as the open innovation platform we are talking about staff meals. looking a little bit further, as we start to open up the parks with new locations, we are actually looking at the ability to actually scale to say that, you know, even for guest meals delivery, even for animal food, and even for moving of merchandises in between the various areas of the parks. Okay, that's how it can potentially scale up. Point number 4, how can we replace the buggies with smaller vehicles which are actually safer and more energy efficient? So as I mentioned in my earlier point just now, having 20 buggies being driven around in a very suboptimal condition, each one carrying just a small little amount of food packages is not the best way to use our buggy resources. And definitely because of the fact that the buggies are actually being electronically driven, is also not a very good way to use energy in that case. So we are also, as a organization that actually embrace sustainability, we are therefore trying to see how we can actually improve upon this area by having consolidation of the meals and deliver them in a very optimal way. Okay, point number 5, we will also want to be able to test out how do we communicate in real time between the various vehicles to travel in an efficient and optimized route. Okay, moving on to the next page. Okay, so what are we hoping to validate through the OIP? Is that first of all, human-centered design. Is it something that our staff want, or do they still prefer to drive a buggy or even ride bicycle to actually collect their meals? I think during normal days, I think it's still okay, but when the weather gets a little bit too hot, not fair for the staff to walk too long. And actually, when it comes to also rainy weather, I think there is certain discomfort in terms of that. Okay, so looking at the point under human-centered design, point number 2, we will also want to assess what is technically and organizationally feasible, and in terms of how do we actually scale up. Okay, and point 3, is it commercially viable in terms of what is the cost per meal if we actually average out from a ROI perspective. Okay. Next one, we are looking at environmental and social. Okay, environmental and social here means that because of the fact that the vehicles currently travel through one-way road that covers both front of house and back of house, you will come into interaction with people, means young children, elderly, parents, kids, as well as other guests. That's one way that we actually need to look at from a safety perspective. Not only that, because of our unique landscape, we actually have got roads that is actually having different gradients, and along the roads you will actually have got different animals. You can actually have peacock standing in the middle of the road, you know, not wanting to move, but then you can't shoo them away. And there's also things such as monitor lizards that is lying in the middle of the road while you're actually driving a vehicle, so you need to still wait for them to actually cross. Okay. The addition to that, because we are actually a wildlife precinct, there is also likelihood of macaques, or to put it in layman term, monkeys, not actually owned by us, but these are actually wild ones that may actually come to prey on your food. It means, for example, if you leave a food packet there, or if they smell food, they will come and attack the buggy. So these are things that we will try to say that, you know, from our environment, how do we have a possible and robust solution that actually caters for this? And in terms of the solutioning, technical aspects, what are we trying to address from OIP? Are we looking for a semi or fully autonomous vehicle? What's the payload? Optimum payload per trip up? Is it 10 boxes, 5 boxes, 20 boxes, or even 50 boxes, and so on? What's the energy efficiency of it? What's the optimal speed and path routing that we can look at? How maintainable is it? Next point, network connectivity. Because our park is actually in a very heavily vegetated area, we want to know whether, you know, a inbuilt kind of 4G communication is good enough or not, or do we need to have the autonomous vehicle itself to actually have got additional data and GPS routing capabilities? Because 5G has not come into Mandai yet. That's something we are still exploring, but at the point in time, we want to see whatever is available and feasible. Okay, next thing is that accuracy of the various sensors that you have. So how do we actually have accurate sensing to say that, you know, if the autonomous vehicles actually gets attacked by a monkey, then how do we actually go back and rescue it? Or if you get lost, you know, drop inside the drain or whatever, how do we then bring it back in terms of accuracy? Or if the autonomous vehicles actually, you know, knock into something or knock into somebody, then how do we actually then have the recovery mechanism to actually bring it back? Okay, last one, point of communication is that how does the autonomous vehicle then actually inform the staff that your meal is coming, that you can actually go and pick it up? Okay, moving on, next page. Okay, so for this particular statement, we are actually offering a cash price of $20,000. The other incentive that you're actually being able to be exposed of as part of our problem statement is that we are actually exploring for long-term partnerships. The current case study that we have is actually only for Singapore Zoo, but in the future we will have close to about 6 parks and as well as eco resorts. So the possibilities is actually endless. Access to resource. What we mean by resource here is the staff, the environment, and as well as the very interesting landscape that we have that it's not very common in a lot of places whereby you are able to have autonomous vehicle to operate in a vegetated area together with a wildlife environment that actually allows you to have that kind of scaling. And because of the fact that we are actually operating the private road, there are some leeway in terms of SLA regulations towards the running of autonomous vehicles. Okay, next thing is, of course, expertise with regards to how do we then actually bring you on board to partner with us, and as well as our various colleagues who are actually experts in their own various trades. Okay, so last page. Okay, evaluation criteria is that we are actually going to have a little bit more of understanding about your company profile, the solution fit, as well as the solution readiness in terms of how mature is it, and the ability to scale. And of course, we are actually also going to look at the quality of the innovation and as well as the solution, that advantage that you have. Of course, proven track records will definitely be a great advantage if you're actually going to bring in something like that. Okay, I think we have questions for Ming.
Yeah. Oh,
Yep, that's all I
Vincent,
have.
you're done already. Okay, great. Thank you very much.
Yes,
What
yes,
an exciting presentation. So you're looking for something very high-tech, AI optimized, autonomous solution that is also monkey-proof, right? If I get you
not
correctly.
only monkey proof. Not only monkey proof.
Okay.
Monkey is not the only wildlife
Okay.
that we have.
Okay.
You need to do with peacock. You need
Monitor
to do
lizards and peacock. Okay.
Yeah. A lot of different things.
Okay, very challenging problem. Okay, we have a couple of questions for you, but I'm just going to take only, I think, one or two, because we want to also allow you to actually key in the answers to some of the more basic questions. So maybe this one from Amanda Sim it sounds quite interesting for all the audience. What is the budget you have after the prototype stage? Are you able to share on this, Munsun?
Okay. After the prototype stage, it depends on what's the kind of scale that we want. You could say that you scale. For example, the budget. For example, currently in OIP, we said $20,000 is just to probably let us try out the solution. It could be a leasing model, it could be a partnership model for 1 to 2 months, for instance. So that's why I mentioned just some of ROI. So for instance, if $20,000 just for the OIP price, and they tell us that it's going to be for 2 months rental, then my average cost per month is 10K. Correct? Works out to be about $500. Then of course the stakeholders will ask, wouldn't it be cheaper if I go and hire a driver, go and drive every meal around? I mean, it's a very realistic question. What's the cost per meal? That's a very simple fundamental. Okay, when you talk about budget, then to scale forward, then it depends on beyond staff meal delivery. What can we do for? Are we able to deliver food for elephant? Are we able to deliver food for rhinoceros and so on? Because it is a different payload in terms of what the vehicle is able to carry. Your routing path is very different, and actually your ROI is actually also different already. So beyond that, therefore, depending on the case study, if we can also make it autonomous food delivery system for our guests. So for example, they're attending the animal show, but they want to have something. It could be an ice cream, depending on how robust the solution is, from the gift shop or whatever, or some special meals, or even a birthday cake for a birthday celebration.
Okay.
Something that really depending on what's the use case that we potentially going to see on. But for budget wise, I think there is a certain budget, but I can't review. But it depends on the suitability of the solution. Then we can actually work together and co-create and co-innovate. Thanks.
Okay, and it'll be a collaboration between you and the eventual winner of this challenge. So I think it's a lot of possibilities there. So thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. That's all the time we have for our challenge from Mandai Wildlife Group. A big thank you to Mr. Lam Bun-sun, the AVP of Transformation. Thank you, Bun-sun. Hope to see you again soon, and all the best for this challenge. I'm pretty sure you attract a lot of very cool solutions for this. So you're gonna have a tough time probably choosing the best ones. Okay, thank you very much. Hope to see you soon. Thank you.
Yep, thank you.
And I'm gonna move on to our second challenge spotlight of the day. This is gonna be about artifact, mounting, right? Something very challenging. So all the way from the wildlife reserve all the way to the museums, right? The title of this challenge is A Virtual Approach to Sense, visualize and optimize artifact mounting. Now, what it's all about, I'm going to get our two guests from ACM as well as from NHB to present. It's going to be a tech team presentation. First, I'd like to welcome Mr. Harun Nizam bin Samion. He's the exhibition officer at ACM, the Asian Civilization Museum, as well as Ms. Ariane Low, I got it correct. Ariane Low, assistant manager at NHB as well. So both of them will be tech team to tell you more about this very exciting challenge. So please take it away, Harun Nizam and Ariane. Thank you.
All right, thanks, Billy. Can everyone see my presentation?
Yes, we can.
All right, great. Hi, everyone. My name is Ariane. I'm from the National Heritage Board, where we work to preserve and share Singapore's heritage and culture. We manage several museums and heritage institutions, including the Asian Civilizations Museum, or ACM. And today I'm very happy to be joined by my colleague Hyrule from the ACM.
Thank you, Ariane. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Hyrule from the Exhibition Technical Services Department in ACM. The ACM oversees one of the most comprehensive museum collections in the region and deal with a huge quantity of artifacts. To give you some perspective, our Tang Shipwreck Gallery alone displays more than 1,000 pieces of ceramics, gold, and silver. In the Exhibition Technical Services Department, we work closely with curators, conservators, exhibition managers, exhibition designers, and fabricators to bring an exhibition to life. One of the many tasks we undertake is to provide specialized mounting for artifacts to be displayed with adherence to standards set by conservators at the Heritage Conservation Center. For this OIP, we have put forward this challenge statement. How might we intelligently sense and visualize an artifact to optimize the mount fabrication process for greater time savings? Before we carry on, some of you might be wondering about mount making itself. Mount making is highly customized to meet the special needs of every artifact. They require manual matching of suitable mount styles as each artifact requirements vary. Mount making also requires a high level of attention from the mount maker. Currently, all 4 officers in ACM are trained to create mounts for artifacts. All artifacts on display have unique dimensions, materials, weak points, weight distribution, and other characteristics. To ensure that they are displayed securely and with the least damage possible, these artifacts rest on mounts. Just to name a few, artifact mounts can include handmade brass or stainless steel support, use of insect pins, or acrylic book cradle. They provide support, protects artifacts and visitors from harm, as well as preserve the integrity of the sculpture or objects on display. In the next few slides, I'm going to share with you several steel and handmade brass mounts in ACM. Seen here, the mount provides support for the objects that are weak or deteriorated. It supports the different parts of the stone sculpture for it to be displayed in a standing posture. At times, artifacts need to be displayed in a specific orientation. For this, steel mounts were designed by a mount maker and fabricated by an appointed contractor. This is another example of meeting the requirement to display in a specific orientation. This is an adjustable mount that can be adjusted to almost any angle. Other consideration for mounting includes addressing curatorial intent. This is an open display in Tang Shipwreck Gallery. In our jewelry gallery, unique mounts with a combination of die-cut acrylic and brass are fabricated for objects that need a rigid support and are too flexible to be displayed by itself. Lastly, support mounts are also fabricated for objects that are too fragile to be handled. Next, I'm going to share with you our current process for fabricating mounts. First, after obtaining and identifying the physical artifact, we either take new measurements or confirm previous ones. We discuss display requirements with curators and conservators, example, how it fits into the exhibition style, if it is better suited for wall mounting or showcase mounting. We then work to identify suitable mount styles, often based on our experience and drawing from certain set styles for mounts. In the fabrication phase, we either send the mounts for fabrication or fabricate them in-house. And once we obtain the physical mount, we clear it with the curators. After that, we rework and adjust the mounts as required for us to finally mount the artifact and put it on display. Often, further adjustments and painting of mounts are required after display.
So as you can see, this current process relies very much on mount fabricators and their own expertise in designing and crafting mounts. The ACM deals with hundreds and thousands of artifacts. So the current mount making workflow could benefit from greater time efficiency. Indeed, highly customized mounts require a lot of back and forth discussion between Hyrol's team and curators. And on top of that, the current design and matching process is manual, so it's very time consuming. And as of now, there is no digital database of past mount styles which can serve as a reference. So here's the new process that we're very excited to test. To start with, if there is no digital copy of the artifact, we need to scan and create one. If it exists, we input it into software, which can generate possible mounting models based on the available information that's tagged to that digital copy. Then we send this via a link to the curators to further discussion. We can then fabricate the mount, rework it until final installation and display. So to reach this new process, the ACM is looking for a working prototype solution with imaging and AI capabilities to be able to perform artifact visualization, data capture, and help facilitate the sharing of designs for faster mount fabrication. I'll go over these solution features very broadly, but feel free to check out our challenge brief on the OIP website for more details. First, the solution should be able to accurately capture the artifact and its relevant data to be able to generate an accurate 3D model for molding. And we're talking about weight, dimensions, stress and weak points in the object, etc. We invite you to recommend a suitable data capturing source and other complementary sources of information. Next, the solution has to be able to automatically tag and archive past artifact and mount pairings to build this database of suitable matches. For the prototype, we ask that the solution be able to create and ingest a minimum of 60 mount models for a baseline repository. And from this repository, the solution should be able to intelligently match pre-modeled mounts to artifact models. For the prototype, the solution should be able to suggest appropriate mounts for up to 10 3D scanned artifacts. And this would be based on preset parameters. And finally, the solution should have machine learning capabilities to be able to continuously learn and improve its recommendations as we eventually increase the data input. Now, what's in it for you? So apart from the $30,000 of prize money, and for each winner of this challenge, you do gain access to other exciting resources, facilities, and opportunities. But above all, this is really a unique challenge to solve because it requires a very flexible and innovative approach. But it also puts 3D capture and visualization to very meaningful use for us. Now, for the evaluation criteria, apart from the general criteria which we've shared on the OIP platform, we've also shared some requirements that are very important to us in our challenge brief. The solution has to be user-friendly, keeping in mind that curators and fabricators are going to have to adopt this new workflow as well as this new software. It has to be cost-effective, and we'd very much like it to be adaptable for future developments that could potentially involve generative design, 3D printing, and other exciting future upgrades. As for the deadline, you have until the 28th of January, 2022 to send in your submissions, and we very much look forward to receiving your submissions. So thank you very much for your time, and we're open to your questions.
Okay, thank you very much. Yeah, very fascinating presentation by Ariane and Hyrol, representing NHB as well as ACM. Thank you very much. And we have questions flowing for you guys. So this is a very fascinating challenge. I believe this is one of the unique examples of why OIP is so powerful, because I believe that you can't just walk into any store and buy a solution for you guys, right? To generate this kind of virtual 3D data and have design virtual mounts and so on. So therefore, you need to tap on the ideas and the innovative solutions of our OIP community. So, and then I believe I have burning questions from the community on the screen right now. I'm going to answer them right now. I'm sorry, I'm going to ask them right now, and I'm going to invite Hyrol and Ariane to try to answer them. Okay, from Michael, thank you, Michael, for your question. What does the museum use for 3D imaging currently to document all artifacts? Hyrule, you want to take this one?
Great question.
Yes, great question. Currently, not all, if I'm not mistaken, not all artifacts are being 3D scanned. I think it's really based on the need of the artifacts and the need of whether they need to be digitized or not. I think Arian can also jump in to talk about the 3D imaging part.
Sure. I mean, basically from this, you can kind of see that the whole 3D scanning and imaging process is not widespread at this current stage for us. And so if you're worried about suggesting a data source capture that's very different from what we would currently use, I'd say we're very open to your suggestions about that.
Okay. All right, a great answer there from Arian and Harold. Okay, up next from Anonymous from the audience. How is the fragility of an artifact assessed currently? Do you guys take a hammer and just knock at it or something? Just kidding.
Hyrule, you're the expert on this.
Thank you, Hyrule.
I think first and foremost, it's really the human touch. We normally assess them by if we can hold the artifact, we will hold them, and then we assess them visually. I might be wrong, but at times also our conservators at HCC would run some tests to see if any parts of it are fragile. At times, maybe some wooden artifact or stone sculptures, they may seem steady from the outside, but they might be deteriorating from the inside. So for this, there's only so much the eye can see. So to answer how is the fragility assessed, it's really by various means, but first and foremost by visual and human touch.
Okay, thank you, Harold. That's a very good answer to a very, I think it's a very technical question, right? For people who are, museum buffs, I think they would like to ask a question. Okay, I'm going to ask for more questions on the floor before I let Arian and Harold go. So basically, if you have one more burning question for them, I'm happy to host you right now. And Michael, thank you very much. Save me again. All right, okay, so Michael is back with one more question, and I believe he's very interested in this challenge, right? He says, fracture points and weight is not done via visual inspections. So X-ray inspection it's a way, but it may have damages. Do you guys want to comment on Michael's observation?
Sure. Actually, we've discussed this previously with Hyrule. For a lot of these more detailed assessments of the artifacts, the Heritage Conservation Center does have an extensive protocol for handling these different things. And oftentimes, Hyrule, correct me if I'm wrong, but the objects that arrive for mounting, they come along with data from the HCC, from these assessment that's attached to them. And we're also interested in being able to tag this information onto whatever 3D model that we create of these artifacts, so that we're able to keep this in mind when we make recommendations and input it in software.
Okay, Harold, do you have anything to add to this point? If not,
that's right, Arian. I think when they come to, so the first point of contact is normally HCC or conservators. They would do the condition checks first, and then they would include the data into a system where all of the investigated points are being input. And then from there, we also look through the notes and we see and really assess. I think that portion is really, really important from the conservators. Yep.
Okay. Thank you, Harold. Okay, wow, another question for you guys, and this comes from James here, and James is also very serious about this. He is asking, do you mean that you won't consider 3D scanning and image stitching proposals? What do you guys say to this?
Can they be more detailed about it? Yeah. We're quite open to the sources of data capture. I think we've listed in certain examples in the challenge brief itself. It can be from smartphones or third-party handheld scanners, but we're also open to just see what works best, because not only does it have to be accurate, it has to be something that can be easily adopted by Hyrule's team, for example.
Okay, good point. So I will invite everybody to actually dive into the full details of the challenge on our portal, which is at www.openinnovation.sg to find out more of what exactly ACM and NHB are looking for in this solution. Yeah, but basically they're open to all sorts of possible innovative solutions that can solve this challenge, which is basically, I think they're looking for, in essence, a working prototype, right, with imaging and AI capabilities to optimize the mount making process, right, if I can summarize well. Okay, I see that there isn't any more questions. So, Ariane and Hyro, good news, you have time for a nice afternoon tea break right now. Okay, so thank you very much for a great presentation. Thank you for answering our burning questions. And ladies and gentlemen, we look forward to your submissions for this very interesting challenge, because I believe if your prototype works right, this solution can be adopted by many, probably thousands of museums worldwide. Right? I believe it's something that I think a lot of museums are looking for. So this is something that's going to be, you might even set up a whole trend. So basically, you have the opportunity to make innovation history together with this challenge, together with NHB and ACM. So I look forward to all the exciting proposals from you guys. So thank you very much, Hyro and Ariane. Thank you very much. And basically, when the solutions come, do let us know how you guys are evaluating it. I'm very personally, I'm very curious about this. So I hope to keep us updated on this. Thank you very much.
Will do. Thank you, Billy.
Thank you.
Thanks, Billy.
Thank you very much. All right, and that was challenge number 2, a virtual approach to sense, visualize, and optimize artifact mounting. And we learned something new today, thanks to our presenters from NHB and ACM. Okay, coming up next, another interesting challenge, and this is for people who are into B2B product marketplaces. Okay, the title is Search Optimization for the B2B Product Marketplace, and it's by Capital. So the challenge problem statement is actually something like this. It goes, how might we enable a user-friendly product listing onboarding solution that matches product searches accurately in a B2B marketplace, right? And this comes from Capital. Capital is a B2B marketplace that connects buyers and suppliers regionally, right? And we're very, very glad to have with us the co-founder and CEO of Capital today, Mr. Patrick Tan, to present. And Patrick, right, he has experience in a previous company called Green Book, and he was motivated to start his very own B2B company to help SMEs, right? And this is his journey. 8 years later, Capital now provides the ultimate solution, right, to onboard less tech-savvy businesses, right, like SMEs and so on a digital and cost-effective multi-language portal. Sounds like a very powerful, platform that you have there, Patrick. So, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Mr. Patrick Tan, the co-founder and CEO of Capital. Please take it away, Patrick.
Hi, good afternoon, everybody. Thank you, Billy, for the great introduction. Yep. So I believe everyone can see my screen and hear me.
Yes, we can see it. Yeah, it looks great and you sound great. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'll start my presentation. Sorry for being a bit dark over here. Okay. Let's move on. Okay. Yeah. So actually, my team today, me and Jolene, will be presenting our problem statement. And we hope that somebody else can help us and work together to come up with a solution with what we are facing. Okay, for myself, as Billy have introduced, right, I actually previously worked in Green Book. For Singapore companies, right, I think you all know what Green Book is about. It's similar to Yellow Pages directory. So what we do is that we help companies to do advertising on Green Book. But subsequently in 2015-16, right, platform like Alibaba and online platform start to come in aggressively. So we find that our customers who are in the industrial trade, especially in hardware, in machinery, engineering, okay, they face difficulty in going digital, okay, especially with their background knowledge, right? They are actually quite traditional businesses. So we start to help them through building a platform called Capital.com to help their products reach out to worldwide and also, of course, in Singapore. Okay, so we started from Singapore and venture into Malaysia and then to Thailand. Yep. So as time goes by, right, while we get more and more customers on board, we find that it's not practical for us to keep hiring people to actually help them to go on board onto their products. So we find that we actually need to go digital for the onboarding part to actually give our scalability some breather. Okay, so we actually want to highlight that we have a very high manual and time-consuming onboarding process. Our sellers being very not digital savvy, we often need to spend a lot of time to actually talk to them and inform them about how to onboard their products onto our platform. And normally we go by one-to-one session. Okay, So, and also for our customers' product, they are normally quite niche. It's not our common, shoes, t-shirt kind of products. So we spend a lot of time also to understand. But with our years of experience, right, we actually managed to understand quite a wide range of products for our customers. Yeah. But if we're going to scale it globally, right, I think you need something else, okay, to work this out. Yeah. So the last part in our point 3, right, continuous refinement of product listing. Okay, to ensure that our product listings stay highly visible on search engine, we actually have to monitor and refine its listing. It's a very tedious process for us, and it is becoming more and more manpower intensive. Okay, so this is actually generally our problem over this about 9 years of being in the market. Okay, so what we are looking for at the moment, we are looking for a solution, okay, to tie up with currently what we have, which can automate our supplier onboarding process with preferably minimum third-party assistance needed. Okay, the solution should enable the potential buyer to understand the content either through keyword, title, or a breadcrumb list. Okay, so now how are we able to enable a user-friendly product with a listing onboarding solution that can actually match our B2B marketplace perfectly? Yep. So at the moment, we are looking for a working prototype solution for capital corporate partners to easily create search optimized product listing for greater and more effective reach to the right online buyers. There are some consideration that we feel that is important, like example, keywords, product description, and images. So in terms of manpowers, right, we feel that we do have a pool of seniors who are previously in the engineering and industrial trade, who may be already retired, or maybe due to COVID, they are unable to get a job. So we actually work with them as well with their knowledge. We hope that we can create a system which can guide them easily to create all this content. So we are actually incorporating content marketing, okay, easier onto our B2B platform. Okay, so what we are looking for in the proposed solution, of course, including a user-friendly product information upload. Yep. Currently, we already have our full CMS system, CMS meaning content management system, which our user can upload their products. But of course, we wish to have a better user interface, such as drag and drop of PDF, dynamic forms, and photo to text extraction. Okay, so having a dashboard of the overall product performance, okay, making information more accurate, and of course, in time to come when we have more data onto our platform, we wish to help to improve their performance even better through data-driven optimizations. Now, with that, I think for us, Capital, we can actually grow with all this information as well. So lastly, we also require smart meta tag recommender, whereby it actually help our customer to get keywords easier. As you know, for our users, right, they are not so savvy in terms of internet and tech. So I think this will be very much useful for them to improve on their keywords. Yeah. Web crawler definitely is a must, because once we have all this proper information, we hope that all this information can be synced with Google search engine. Yep. Then data information, past suggestion, and also past data of other users who key in for the same product. We can use it and enhance our smart tag recommendation. Okay. Lastly, to move along into the market, right, I suppose machine learning capabilities, this is a must for all industry. So with big data involved in the B2B marketplace in Singapore, South Asia, or the whole Asia, we need this capability to improve our accuracy in recommending our keywords onto our platform. Yep. This is important as well as because for our industry, right, different products can be called in different manner in different countries. So this helps a lot on localization, especially in South Asia, whereby we have different culture, different languages. Okay. So the last part, what's in it for you? There'll be a 30,000 prize money for each winner of this challenge. Okay, for full information of our details, I think just now Billy mentioned that you can go to IMDA website to get more information. And lastly, of course, for us to scale, we are also looking for partners, co-developers, suppliers, or preferably long-term partner to help us to go to the market in years to come. That should be all for our presentation of my product. Okay.
Okay.
So yeah.
Yep. Thank you very much, Patrick. Yeah, very, very short and sweet. Yeah. Thank you. Do you have anything more to add?
I think for this part, we can leave it to the participant to have a look.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, and they can also find the full details when they deep dive into the OIP portal at www.openinnovation.sg. Patrick, I must tell you that your topic is quite hot because I see the questions flooding in already. Wow, starting to panic already. Quite a few questions coming on. So I'd like to take them on because we do have limited time, and I'd like to answer as many of them as I can, together with you, of course. Yeah. So okay, I'd like to welcome back a question from Michael. Michael, thank you very much for being so supportive today. Okay, so Michael is asking, is this a two-part challenge? Because he says that it seems that part one is you need an onboarding automation, and part two, you need a search optimization engine. Patrick, what do you say to Michael's comment?
Okay, we hope to integrate these two parts because these are all equally important. I mean, with the automated onboarding, right? While onboarding our customer, I think proper onboarding plays a very big part for search engine optimization. Having the correct keyword, onboarding properly, this actually is something that some challenge that we face. Yeah, so I hope that while onboarding our customers through their own onboarding, right, they can actually be guided with this platform to follow through the search optimization criteria.
Okay.
So actually, it's quite a seamless integration kind of thing.
Okay, so I guess Michael should see it as one big challenge instead of two parts, right? So one big part as well, all interconnected. Yeah. Sounds good. Thank you very much, Patrick. Okay, up next, another tough question for you. This is from Anonymous in the audience. It says, are you looking to revamp the whole website with chatbot and analytics function? Or does the solution have to be integrated into your current system? A very good question there. Patrick, what do you say to this?
Yep. So our solution currently, right, we have done it in a way that it can be easier integrated into another system. Okay. But preferably, of course, we hope to use the same framework. Yeah, our framework is Node.js. Okay, so preferably through this way, it's easier for us to integrate this together. So we are not going to revamp the whole website because right now we have just revamped. It's more on like what you have mentioned, to integrate with the chatbot. Not really yet until we have bigger data. Analytic function also when we have better data, but now it's more on streamline the data onboarding onto our platform. So you saw we actually wanted to create this automated onboarding platform with SEO criteria. So it's more on the onboarding process.
Okay. Thank you. I hope that answers Anonymous question. Okay, coming up next, back a question from Michael again. Hi, Michael. She's now asking about this. Okay, there are basically two key core capabilities that's foundational to your business, your services, right? So, Michael is asking, Capital, what is your eventual IP and business model with solution providers? Wow, Patrick, how would you answer this question?
Thank you, Michael, for the question. Let me see. This is tough. Okay. What I feel is that in the market currently, right, for SEO, it's always a very customized process. So there's no so-called automated SEO. Yeah. So what happened is that SEO is always customized and one-to-one, and it also depends on customers' product, etc. So we actually facilitate this process of automated SEO is we hope help this semi group of not very technical savvy customers who are more in the industrial trade to also have this same presence on search engine, okay, compared to the MNC, all the big boys who has the luxury of having their own marketing team. So eventually, the IP wise, right? I would say that it would be somehow shared as well with the solution provider, because we also hope that this can be a long-term process. Our team alone can only serve maybe on the acquisition and how to scale the marketplace in global network, but the back end part of this marketing and the back end part of having an automated SEO system, I think this belongs to the solution provider, and we don't really have the capability to continue this process without you. So it will be more of a partnership.
Okay, great. So I guess I can humbly suggest that basically what happens is that the capital will probably negotiate with the eventual winner of this challenge, right? To collaborate and then to sort out the IP and business model. Right? That's why I think. So I hope that's an answer for Michael. That if you win the challenge, right, you're open to negotiating with capital, for the eventual IP and business model, that you all agree on. Yeah. Patrick, I hope that's right.
Right. Yeah.
Okay.
Really.
Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah. Okay, I guess we have time for probably just one more question from the floor. I'd like to turn the spotlight to Amanda. Amanda has two questions, but let's pick this one. It says, okay, Amanda has a question for Patrick, and she's asking, which of the functions you listed, right, is your priority in this project?
Priority will be the onboarding, automated onboarding part, because eventually, even if it's not onboarded like perfectly fine, but at least we get the information, we can actually do it on our side. Yeah, so it's still the onboarding part and the information part of customers' product, companies' product, which is more crucial.
Okay, and I think Amanda also had a subsequent question, and she's asking actually, what is your hosting site currently? Are you at liberty to share your hosting site? I actually don't quite know. Is she asking for the URL of the current capital platform, or it's like something else? Amanda, would you like to clarify, or if not, then I'll just ask Patrick to answer. What's the hosting site currently?
Maybe I can answer both.
Okay, can, yeah.
The marketplace is called Capital.com. Capital.com. Then if you ask about where we are hosted, we are on Google Cloud. That should be answering her question.
Okay, yeah, I think that'll be of interest to all the tech solvers who are interested in taking on your challenge as well. Okay, and then finally we have a comment from Michael. He says that Michael saying that with a good onboarding meta tagging, right, search will be very intuitive. So I suppose it's a very good comment there from Michael. I don't sense the question, so yeah. Okay, I think we have just about a minute or two more, but would the audience have any more burning questions for Patrick from Capital? This is your chance to ask him something that is bugging you about this challenge. So if you have the question right now, you can just send it in. We have probably 1 minute to go for Patrick. Patrick, I think the audience is very gentle with you today. They asked a tough question. Now they are letting you off already. Okay, I think there are no more questions. Ladies and gentlemen, a big round of applause for Patrick from Capital for presenting on his challenge. And we look forward to your submissions, right, for this challenge. Once again, the title of the challenge is Search Optimization for the B2B Product Marketplace. And I believe that if you have a good prototype, right, there are opportunities for you to commercialize it beyond just working in Capital. You can actually open it up to the rest of the world. It can be a very cool solution. So thank you very much, Patrick. I really hope that you get a lot of really cool solutions for this particular challenge. Thank you very much, and we'll love to see you again. Patrick, ladies and gentlemen, that's Patrick Tan, co-founder and CEO of Capital. Thank you, Patrick. Okay, I think right on track here. I'm going to move on to the next challenge. This is something very, very interesting. It's about consumer-oriented services. We're looking at hyper-personalized consumer-oriented services, and this challenge comes from NTUC Income, right? The problem statement is something like, how might we create hyper-personalized consumer-oriented services powered to enhance the customer experience for NTUC Income users and broader partnerships for corporates? That's a very big ask, right? And our presenter is Ms. Goh Zihui from NTUC Income. She's the business lead and product launcher in the digital transformation office at NTUC Income. I believe she's also the lead manager for the snack product, right? If I'm not wrong, the app about micro investments one. Correct me if I'm wrong, Zihui. So, oh yes, she said that she brought Snack and Tribe to market, yeah. And she has more than 6 years of experience in product management, and I think she's very, very well versed in fintech. So I'm going to ask her a tough question of fintech later on, ladies and gentlemen. And of course, a bit about NTUC Income. It's actually a leading composite insurer in Singapore, and it serves more than 2 million policyholders. That's a big number. So, ladies and gentlemen, to bring you more details about the hyper-personalized consumer-oriented services, let's welcome Ms. Goh Zihui, Business Lead and Product Launcher, the Digital Transformation Office of NTUC Income. Please take it away, Zihui.
Hi, thanks a lot, Lee. I assume everyone can now see my screen.
Yes, you're in the preview mode though. Yeah, you have to launch your slides. Yeah, but they look great. Yeah.
All right. Okay, we'll get started then.
Okay.
So, all right, let's go. Okay, so maybe just a quick introduction of where we are actually from, right? I think all of you probably have heard of NTUC before, but whenever people hear of NTUC, they think of, okay, this is definitely the supermarket, the Fair Price and all. Yes, one of the NTUC subsidiaries is Fair Price, but there are also a lot of other cooperatives within it. So one of it is NTUC Income, which is the insurance arm. So like what Billy mentioned, right? Over here we are a composite insurer. We have life insurance, critical illness. We have also GI and such. And the digital transformation office was actually started in 2016. So what we aim to do here is really to come up with new business models. And also find out, come up with different platforms and innovative ways as to how people purchase conventional insurance. And that's this kind of summarizes Income's digital journey so far. So I think some of you might have heard of some of these products in the market. So some of it is B2C products, some of it is B2B2C products, like the collaboration we have with Grab, with Karo, and with FastJobs. Not exactly consumer facing, but that's where we work with these partners to actually bring out solutions to their base. The direct B2C products, the initial two that we launched were actually Droplet and PinFair. More recently, that's where we launched Snack and Tribe. So I'm going to deep dive a bit into these two areas, because that's where really the wealth of data comes in, and that's the wealth of data that we are currently sitting on. So onto our B2C platforms, Snack and Tribe. So what Snack is it's a mobile app that lets you and me purchase insurance and investments as you go about your lifestyle activities. So for example, dining out, commuting, hitting 5,000 steps on your Fitbit or your Garmin, you can choose to contribute 30 cents or $1 to build up your insurance and investments correspondingly. So I think, all of you who would have normal insurance products out there, it's where usually you pay a lump sum every month for that large amount of insurance coverage. But we also know, because of that required lump sum, a lot of people choose not to purchase insurance otherwise. That's why we started out Snack, to let people get access to insurance and investments in a very bite-sized manner. With just 30 cents, you can start building up your insurance journey. With $1, you can start on your investments portfolio. So our belief here is really that having a bit of insurance coverage is really is better than having nothing at all. And late last year, that's where we also extended our proposition on the Snack platform to also bring about SnackUp. So SnackUp is this proposition where we bring about merchant partners onto the platform. And when people spend with SnackUp brands, for example, Foodpanda, Sunny's, Fave, etc., they actually get free insurance coverage from these SnackUp partners. So today we have about 40 plus 50 SnackUp partners, and this number is definitely growing. So as you can see on the Snack platform, because of how it's so lifestyle focused, how it's so partner focused, we actually then get a lot of data that we would not have get in our usual conventional model. We are able to get spend data from a customer's credit cards. We are able to get his activity data from his fitness devices. We know which are his favorite brands. I choose Foodpanda versus other platforms, etc., etc. So with all these, in the past one year plus, we actually have built up a wealth of data on Snack today. Moving on to Tribe. So Tribe, we actually launched this platform. We actually launched the Tribe product this year, and what it is, we really call it the Netflix of insurance. you pay a monthly subscription. You can choose $5, $10, or $20, and you actually get to choose the pack that you want. So at launch, we have these 3 packs: Child Pack, Essentials Pack, and Recovery Pack. And it's all tailored to your profile. So Child Pack, we cover things like child injury, child illness. Essentials Pack, it's more generic, and Recovery Pack, it's more also focusing on injury and illness. So we really believe in getting a product based on your life stage, because your financial commitments and your needs changes based on your life stage. And with that, therefore, with all these data that we currently have, and with the partners we work with, that's the next phase, right? So that's why we thought of this problem statement. How do we then take it one step further to create a very hyper-personalized consumer-oriented services in order to push the boundaries of the customer experience for the users? And also, how do we use this data then to expand the partnerships with the corporates and with also the merchant partners in Singapore and also in the region, because income is also expanding to regionally this year. So this summarizes the deliverables. What we are actually looking at is to come up with this prototype solution that is able to automatically recommend products, could be insurance, investment products, to the customers based on their profile, behavioral, demographic, and such. Also to help us identify relevant partners that would be relevant to our consumer bases. We also want to facilitate a very transparent data sharing. So, partners will also want to know how their brands are performing on the platform, definitely, because they are paying us. So that's where we want to have this kind of level of data sharing with them too. Last but not least, how do we then use this prototype solution and we create a commercial model out of it and monetize it eventually? So all this you have probably seen before. So the winner, the finalists, will get the 30,000 prize money, gain access to IMDA's resources, so on and so forth. And of course, we will develop this product together with you. The evaluation criteria, I won't really go deep into it. You can have a look at it too. So how do we actually, how does it address the problem statement, whether it's cost effective and such. Yeah. That's, I think, short and sweet. So I think we can take questions during the Q&A. Yeah. Okay.
Thank you, Zhe Hui. Definitely very short and very sweet and a very great presentation. Thank you very much for sharing more about Snack Up as well as Tribe, and then the looking at. I'm looking for more questions to come in right now, but we only have one so far. But I do have one for you. I noticed that in your the detailed brief on the OIP platform, right? One of the solution features you actually are looking for has to include something called real-time current affairs, to recommend relevant policies by adapting to the changing landscape. So that's something very interesting. So I wanted to ask you a bit more about that. Why did you include this, this feature as one of the desired features?
Yeah, so I think like currently, with COVID-19 and all those things, we actually see consumers' needs changing very quickly. Like, for example, they want to look for COVID coverage, because of COVID-19 and because of the travel restrictions or BTL, they are looking for very specific type of travel type of insurance coverage. So that's why how do we, based on our data, quickly come up with such products and coverages more efficiently, such that whenever there's such changes in current affairs, we can roll out such features or such products quicker to market. Yeah.
Okay, so for example, if suddenly Omicron comes along, okay, you have an insurance policy for Omicron, that kind of solution. Okay.
Exactly. I mean, currently we would say that we are already very agile, but it still takes time to gather all the data, and before we know it, it's already like maybe almost a year. So how do we become more agile in that? Yeah.
Okay, and that's a very, very big challenge, I think. But I think our community is able to step up and meet your requirements. Yeah. Okay, so we have two questions for Zhe Hui from the floor right now, and I'm going to take both of them right now. First one is from Anonymous, and it says, what kind of analytics tool is your team currently using, and what are the main challenges faced? Yeah.
Okay, currently we use analytics tools like Google Analytics. We use app types of platforms, like we use AppsFlyer to look at all the data. The current struggle is that things are kind of not in a centralized place. Google Analytics tells us basically how does the user actually the usage of the product on Snack. So I only know the behavioral app data, but I don't know whether the user has hit his maximum coverage, which product he has actually purchased, has he churned already, etc. and etc. So I think currently we have these tools, but it's kind of fragmented, and each of the products also utilize different tools. So I would say the current struggle is that data is very fragmented on the different platforms.
Okay, so hopefully this prototype solution can unify everything into one sort of mega dashboard to see everything. That'd be cool.
Yeah.
Okay, up next from Anonymous. Wow, I think these people are very serious about the challenge. They ask very tough questions. Okay, can you elaborate further what kind of partners that we are expecting to work with for the data sharing platform? Thank you. A very polite question, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, the data sharing. Okay, so with our big focus on SnackUp, where it brings together all the merchant partners, this data platform would primarily be suited for them. So it's for them to come on board and see, hey, how is my brand performing on SnackUp so far? So that will form the main bulk of it. So things like how are the spends like? Are they spending more than last month or less? But also there's another group. So we also work with organizations and companies to come up with insurance coverage for their members and for their employees. So that's where these corporates and these organizations, for example, Safra, for example, the NTUC group, this is where we also want them to have visibility as to what is the take-up rate of their base. How many Safra members have come on board? How many people have I covered? Now it's a very very manual type of process. Yeah, where they ask us, we go and dig, send by email, that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Okay. Oh, very good answer there from Zuhui. Okay, up next, Michael, thank you again for your question. I really love your questions today. Very, very good. And you are keeping our presenters on their toes. Okay, so Michael is asking Zuhui, would source and collection of data, that is availability of data, is it your main concern, the collection of data? Yeah.
Collection of data. Collection of data is not a concern. And I mean, as an insurer, we have the obligation to store data for up to 7 years. So that's where, instead of letting it just sit there, how do we actually utilize it? But of course, in an anonymous way, because we can actually pull the data together to anonymize it. We don't need to actually review any PII data. So to answer your question, collection and analyzing it, that's not an issue. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. That's a great answer for Michael's question. And wow, Zuhui, you have cleared the questions in record time, and I'm just gonna hold the mic open for the floor to ask any more burning questions for Zuhui for this particular challenge from NTUC Income. Should we hold our breath for questions to come? If not, wow, Zuhui, I think you're gonna have a very early afternoon off, because I think the questions have already been answered, and I think everybody's pretty clear on what you're asking for. So once again, this challenge is titled the Hyper-Personalized Consumer-Oriented Services by NTUC Income. You can find it on the Open Innovation platform, and I believe Income also has one more challenge, right, Zuhui? But we won't be talking about that today. Hopefully, we can talk about it another time.
There will probably be shared.
Yeah. So there'll be there are actually 2 challenges by NTUC Income on the platform. So do go to www.openinnovation.sg and check out all the details of the challenges and what exactly NTUC Income is looking for. Okay, I believe there are no more questions for Zuhui, so I'm just gonna let her off to have a early evening off. Thank you very much, Zuhui, for presenting on this challenge. Thank you. And if you guys have more questions for her, right, feel free to write into us at info@openinnovation.sg, and we can follow up with NTUC Income. Thank you, Zuhui. That was a great presentation. And now I think we have wow, we are in a record time. And I'm going to bring on our next, Michael is saying that problem lines data mining. Okay, so Michael, if you want, you can actually write into us and we'll forward the question on to Zuhui. Okay, up next, we have a very interesting problem statement. This challenge actually was meant to be spotlighted next week under the medical technologies webinar, but due to some special circumstances, we're going to bring it forward today to today's webinar. And the title is Smart Monitoring for Senior Care, and it's actually sponsored by the Adventist Home for the Elders. So the problem statement is, how might we develop a smart mobility-based tracking and monitoring for seniors, right, to support elder care staff to provide more real-time assistance and intervention. Okay, so the presenter today is Mr. Wang Kong Wei. He's the honorary chairman of the Adventist Home for the Elders, and Mr. Wang is a lawyer by training and is currently a member of part of the senior management team of a real estate fund management group. Okay, I'm going to leave you guys to guess which famous group that is. Okay, Mr. Wang also active in community causes, including as the founding chairman of the Purple Parade and as chairman of the Adventist Home for the Elders since 2008, and has been awarded some national awards as well. And a bit more about the Adventist Home for the Elders. It's a registered charity with institution of public character and has been established since 1981, and it now serves more than 800 elderly every day in its 3 precincts, right? So I'd like to now invite Mr. Wang Kong Wei to start his presentation on smart monitoring for senior care. Sorry, Mr. Wang, are you ready to talk to us? Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Thank you. Hi, everyone.
You.
Okay, I'm in a car park, so I think I will turn off the video.
Okay.
Yeah, otherwise I will proceed in the interest of time.
Yeah.
So first of all, warm welcome to all of you to this Open Innovation Virtual Thursday. And thank you to IMDA for hosting me, as well as to NCSS for strong support. So next slide, please. So today's agenda, I will cover who are we in a very brief moment. Then I will talk about the context for the challenge, as well as the key challenges, the challenge statement. And last but not the least, of course, please send me your questions and I'll be happy to deal with them accordingly. So next slide. So we are a charity. We started off as a sheltered home. Since about 5 years ago, we also now manage 3 senior activity centers. Now, some of you who are in Singapore will be familiar that senior activity center started off in the rental blocks. However, the senior activity center that we are talking about here is slightly different. These are not in rental blocks, but they are in studio apartments. So again, to give all of you some context, in Singapore, as you know, 80% of the population stays in public housing, what we call HDB flats. And for that, we have a new category of housing known as studio apartments about 8 years ago. And some of these studio apartments are size 37 square meters all the way to 57 square meters. In fact, I've seen some recently in some new towns that are 41 square meters for some reason. Okay, so for these studio apartments, they are purchased from HDB on a direct basis, meaning you cannot buy from the resale market. And secondly, you need to be a Singaporean or PR to buy it. And thirdly, you can only pay in cash or CPF upfront. So there's no mortgage allowed. Fourth is that the tenure of this compared to a normal HDB flat is only 30 years. However, since about 3 years ago, based on feedback, especially from yours truly, studio apartments are now running at what they call Flexi 2, and they go for between 15 years into multiples of 5 years. So you can buy for 15, you can buy for 20, you can buy for 45. The rationale is very simple because a lot of elderly say, if I'm 80 years old, why you make me buy a 30-year tenure, you know? So they can buy 15 years, 15. Or somebody who is 60 years old will say, if I'm 60, why you make me only buy a 30? I rather buy 35, okay? So anyway, the long and short is that at the end of your lease, whether you terminate it by choice or by death or whatever you wish, the government will return you the monies by way of a straight line depreciation. So there's no resale market value, okay? Now, so we've managed these 3 senior centers, and that's what we mentioned in the challenge brief. We take care of about some 800 elderly in the 3 facilities that we have called senior activity centers or Adventist active centers, and of which 35% of these 800 seniors are single elderly, meaning either they are widowed, or they choose to stay alone by choice, or they are estranged from their family, or they are bachelors and what have you. So that is the context. And the context is also that most of them are very mobile. You know, these are not your usual rental flat elderly where they need financial assistance, you know, or they need a lot of support. But these elderly, some of them have done right in terms of their retirement planning. They could have sold their 4-room flat, 5-room flat, some of them even executive apartment. And then, you know, when they come down and talk to you, they talk a bit louder because they have money in their back pocket, you know. So this is not the context of a normal, rental flat HDB where there are dark and dingy corridors, if you pardon my stereotyping. Okay. Next is that they live an active lifestyle. They are mobile. They go about their daily activities, which I will show you by way of a simple case study. And the next point also to note is that we are the service center that provides them with the support in terms of the pool court, meaning that in each of these studio apartments, HDB has already installed 4 pool courts, which I will show you by photograph later. Okay, so we take care of these pool courts. In the sense, if there's a trigger, we have to go upstairs and find out what is the issue. So as you would appreciate, and I will show by photo later on, some of these elderly in colloquial sense, pantang, meaning that they are a bit super, they don't want to be seen, you know, with all these pool courts in their house. So as you can see, some of them started to hide the pool courts, but that's not the topic for today. The topic for today is we want to think about, a smart solution that enables us to monitor the elderly, you know, in a way that signifies that way that give us proper monitoring rather than just relying on pool courts that are static, rather than relying on pool courts that are fixated at certain positions, and rather than relying on pool courts that have other attendant issues, which I have elaborated in the challenge brief. Okay, are we okay so far? If we are, can I move on to the next slide, please?
Yes.
Yeah. So a simple case study of an individual like Mr. Benny, 73 years old, who stays alone, is that he or she would wake up at 6+ in the morning, go out for a walk in the neighborhood garden, okay, and then by 7 o'clock, he or she will be having breakfast with his neighbor or his friends at a coffee shop nearby, and then at 8 o'clock, he or she will come to my senior activity center (SAC) for a morning exercise session. At 10 o'clock, go out to the neighborhood again, sometime on our shuttle bus that we provide FOC to the town center, whether it's in Toa Payoh, whether it's in Jurong Point, to do their shopping, whether at a wet market in Singapore, which is famous for, or in a supermarket, and then come back home, prepare his or her own lunch. Sometimes at our center, as you can see from the photographs, we also provide free lunch that are donated by our sponsors from time to time. So we take very good pride in doing that, and we are very happy that our elderly can eat warm food, that is prepared, and they don't have to trouble themselves. But again, all this shows their independent living, shows their feisty, active lifestyle spirit. Okay, next slide. In the afternoon, their life is full of color and zest. So they can go downstairs again to my center for a calligraphy class, for line dancing class, as you can see from the photographs. Okay, and then at 3 o'clock, of course, I'm stereotyping here. A lot of them would say, I'm getting tired, life is short, I'll take a nap. So they do a hours nap. And then we also have other alternative activities from time to time, whether is it AED CPR training, talk on whales, talk on health snippets, play some YouTube video that is interesting for them, and then they will prepare their dinner, have a bit of light dinner, and then after that, watch 1 or 2 TV programs. Some of them are savvy enough to watch Netflix, and finally, they go to bed. So this is the cycle that we are talking about. Next slide. So the solution here, ladies and gentlemen, is to enable us to provide a smart monitoring device whereby when my manager were to go about their house visits, which they are required to do in order to keep watch over this elderly, they can document. In the challenge brief, this is, if you pardon the pun, quite challenging because some of them are not around. Receiving their grandchildren, there's a bit mismatch there in terms of timing. So documentation is something that we need to take care of. Regardless, this is the things that we do. Second, as you can see from the timeline that I have illustrated, each of these elderly have a very active lifestyle. So this solution should allow us to build upon the lifestyle of the individual. In other words, we can document it, we can have smart learning, and this device or this software rather allows us to customize the alert level for the different seniors. So when I talk about the alert level, it could be that if something is out of sync, meaning usually auntie would take an afternoon nap for 1.5 hours. How come today auntie has no movement, for more than 1 hour and 35 minutes? So the trigger would then be set, and the trigger would then be sent whether to the next of kin or to my SAC center manager. That is really dependent on how we craft the alert triggers accordingly when we set up the system for each of these residents. So it is very personalized, it is very robust, and it can take care of, for example, as I mentioned in the challenge brief, different types of alert. It could be a simple alert. How come auntie is not active at this time of the day? It could be something more immediate, that there is a prolonged duration in the toilet, for example. How come auntie is in the toilet for too long a period of time? Okay, we can sense that, and then we can give an alert. Or in the worst case situation, if for example Mr. Benny were to press a certain button on his app, okay, and the alert is then sent to all the next of kin that he or she has designated, as well as to the center manager. So that's the challenge that we have posed. We have tried, as I mentioned in the challenge brief, to use sensors, but the cost is rather high. The need for a separate Wi-Fi connection and all that are impediments. I have done straw polls, and I said, uncle, if I were to roll out this system in your house, would you pay $30 a month? No hands put up. $22.80? No hands put up. $18.80, auspicious number, no hands put up. So these are things that we have done, but the sensors take up, as you can appreciate, are rather low. Okay, are rather low. Now I will go to the next slide. Thank you. The next slide, as you can see, is a typical layout of a HDB studio apartment. You can see from the front gate. Don't worry, for PDPA reasons, I have blanked out the unit number. You can't trace where this is. You would actually see that on the top left-hand corner of the gate, there is like a light box. This is actually like your ICU unit or your hospital unit, where someone pull a trigger, there's a light that comes on at the nurse control station. So this is what is being shown, is that if the pull cord is pulled in the house, this light comes on and the neighbors would know about it, including a display panel on each floor. Okay, so this is just to give you a glimpse. So the next photo is the living room. As you can see, very simple layout, 37, like I said, to 57 square meters. The next photo on this same page shows you, as you can see from this actual house or actual apartment, you can see the pull cord, but this occupant obviously has tied up the pull cord in a reel, so that if he or she has fallen down, unfortunately, no amount of leopard crawl would allow you to reach that spot that is now being blocked by the sofa for you to stand up, unwind the pull cord in order to pull the trigger point. So we need a smart solution in that sense. Okay, next slide. So from the living room, you will enter the bedroom. You will see that I have taken a photo of the bedroom. Similarly, this is a live photo that we took last few days. Again, you can see that there's another pull cord in the house. Again, the limitation of a pull cord is very glaring and obvious. It is similarly being tied up and coiled up, and blocked by the bed. Next slide. Sorry, next slide. Next photo, beg your pardon. Next photo shows that there's a third pull cord in the toilet, and similarly, this pull cord is being curled up as well as placed on top of the aircon trunking. Okay, so this shows the limitations of the current pull cord system. It is not perfect, which is why we are looking for a smart solution. And the last photo shows the kitchen. Again, the kitchen has got no pull cord, but it is to show you the very compact layout of the kitchen. And all we are looking for today, ladies and gentlemen, is to allow you to devise something as we move forward to this internet age for our elderly, that they can live independently, they can live with dignity, and last but not the least, to harness technology, whether it's an app or otherwise, to enable very discreet, very dignified monitoring, and that enable us, our elderly, to live a very active, healthy, and independent life. Okay, so that's all I have for the time being. I'm pleased now to open the floor to any questions.
Okay, thank you, Kwong Wei. A very excellent presentation, and I understand you're rushing somewhere for important engagement.
No problem. I have time.
Yeah,
I have time.
You have time.
Don't
Okay,
worry.
that's great. That's great. Thank you very much. So because we have a couple of questions for you, but I wanted to follow on the point that you made about just like you say you had a poll of the seniors and they didn't raise their hands to say they indicate they want to pay 1888 and so on for. So but basically in one of your criteria you say that it must be cost effective. The solution must be able to cost effectively scale. So to help our tech solvers, all right, what to you is a ballpark figure for this cost effectiveness? Some sort of benchmark that they can
Okay. Now as I mentioned, if you can see the next slide, I did a pilot, as I also mentioned, using sensors. And the sensors package ranges between $30 to $50 a month. Not many people are interested. Okay. However, when I say not many people, I mean that when I roll out a pilot on 140 households where a lot of data were collected, I think at the end of the pilot for a year, we now have close to 15 residents who are prepared to pay about $20 a month. Okay. But to me, there are many ways to solve the issue. One way is, of course, that if the price point is, say, in the region of a cup of a Starbucks coffee, and so I can always tell, all my seniors that, look, ask your son or your daughter or your grandson or granddaughter to get one less cup of Starbucks coffee, and then you are saying, right? Secondly, of course, is that, I'm a VWO, I'm a charity. I'm prepared to say that if we can find the right solution that is, around that kind of price range or even $8-9, I'm sure we can find sponsors who are prepared to say, look, I will donate, X amount, like 10,000, that will benefit, a wide number of seniors, to pilot this onto the prototype stage or into beta stage in order to, create a smart solution. Like I said, we're living in this age of internet era. We shouldn't be relying on pull cords. As you can see,
absolutely,
so much limitation, so much, unnecessary unsightliness that nobody wants to be seen like you are living in an ICU with 4 pull cords in your house.
That's very, very right. Yeah, correct. Thank you very much. So I hope that gives our tech solvers a better idea of the range of pricing that we're looking at. Okay, that's great. Okay, coming up next from the floor, Anonymous says, for the automated tiered system, good question. What constitute a notification, an intervention, or an emergency?
Thank you. So the first stage, as I mentioned in the challenge brief about notification, will be something that is not in tandem with auntie or uncle's lifestyle. So it could be that, look, auntie usually wake up at 6:30 in the morning. How come today auntie has not touched her phone by 6:45, for example? That would be a notification. So we can set, for example, by way of an app, different time zones. In the morning, the trigger is variance of 5 minutes. In the afternoon, the variance is 10 minutes, So if, for example, simplistically speaking, I mean, in my simple non-computer engineer mind, if we say that the solution allow us to set up to 6 different time zones, each of the time zone has a different trigger alert point, that will be differentiated, right? So a notification could be a delta of 5% or something, or 5 minutes rather, right?
Small variance.
And the second one on immediate would be that, uncle and auntie is lost. Some of them may be suffering from dementia or light dementia or mild dementia, whatever you call it. Then, uncle, auntie say, look, I don't know where am I. I'm in the shopping center. I don't know whether I use exit A or exit B to, enter just now. I'm totally lost,
Okay.
So they can press a button, and there's an immediate notification.
Okay.
Right. And the third one, the more emergency one, like I mentioned, is it could be that, he or she has fallen down. Fortunately, the phone is beside her or him, or is within a better reachable distance, than the pool cord, then he or she can just press an emergency button, for like, please help. This is like code blue, this is an emergency alert.
Okay.
So the point is, at the end of the day, to us, it's still better than the pull cord that they now have, because the moment you pull the cord, as I mentioned in the challenge brief, the whole block knows about it. So some of these elderly say, no, I'm very
I see.
embarrassed. Yeah, I'm very embarrassed. Why? It's like, playing the national anthem,
Understand. Okay.
There's LED display panels that say, please help unit 0 hex, whatever,
Okay.
that kind of messaging. So
Okay.
I think that the trigger alerts is to allow us to customize to the lifestyle, So for example, right, I think some of you also have elderly parents. They are, went out that afternoon to visit a friend or to go to a hospital medical appointment, right? So you don't have to call your mother and say, mother, where are you now? But you can look at the tracking. You will know that, oh, my mother is now on a bus, probably, or on a train or on a taxi, Now she's at SGH, right? You don't have to call, where are you now in SGH? Are you at block 5? Have you, reached your specialist center? So to me, the tracking mechanism also allows us to have many, many benefits compared to, what we have today.
Okay. Yeah. Very good answer there. Okay, coming up next from Michael. Thank you, Michael. I love your questions today. Michael is asking, does not the many government initiatives and previous challenges on remote medical care, elder monitoring, and smart homes outfit address your concerns? What do you have to say to that, Kwong Wing? Yeah.
Thank you. I think, yes, there are many different agencies that work on this. I myself, in the census trial, have worked on 2 different projects. However, to me, to pay sensors around the house or to have other types of echo monitoring, whether by Fujitsu or other brands, to me, there are many, many limitations. You need to be near a device. You need to carry a dongle. You need to wear a special watch. So to me, all these things adds up. In fact, someone said to me, why you want to throw up this challenge? Why don't you ask IMDA or GovTech to implement this tracing thing or tracking thing in the Trace Together token in Singapore, right? But to me, the Trace Together token is not a silver bullet to cure all the sins or to cure all the crimes, So end of the day, to me, yes, so far there are many, many other solutions out there, but it looks like the adoption rate is very low. Whereas to me, if, for example, in my simplistic mind again, if there's an app that is very very versatile, and my elderly staying in a HDB studio apartment, most of them nowadays have got a smartphone. It's a hand-me-down of an iPhone 8, an iPhone 9, or even the latest iPhone 12. All they need is something that they are comfortable to use, something that they will always touch, when they wake up, always touch when they, walk around the house or whatever. So to me, that is something that I'm leaning towards, but I'm open to ideas, which is why I'm on this open innovation platform.
Thank you very much, and thanks for plugging the OIP. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, I need to buy coffee. Okay, I'm gonna move on to probably 2 more questions from the floor for you, because I understand you are on the schedule. So okay, there's this one from Ensa. Ensa says, hello Kwong Wing, thanks for your presentation. Okay, do you think voice technologies are something that the elderly might be interested to try out? Voice technologies.
I think so. I'm open. Yeah. So that's something that it really depends on how analytical, how user friendly the technology is. I think I'm open. Yeah.
Okay, thank you for that. And okay, one more from Michael. And Michael is asking, has there been any attempt to work with HDB on customizing the alert to be unit-based, instead of SCDF-like broadcast? So basically a very customized broadcast for each unit instead of the whole block. So what do you say to Michael's question?
Sure. I think, okay, I have all respect for HDB. I have all respect for Town Council, but I think it's very difficult to, change direction for a big oil tanker. Yeah. So we have tried various ways and means, but it is not as receptive, because to them, they have tried to do a pilot in Yuhua. If you do some research on this topic, They have also called for a recent tender that is won by a Japanese company on wireless sensors, but it is still, to me, very rudimentary. Because when the elderly leaves the house, you know, what are you doing for the monitoring? Right? I mean, you can install sensors here and there. You can let him or her carry something that's attached to the keychain and all that. But there's still a limitation because the moment he or she leaves the house, you know, how are you going to power that kind of remote, you know, dignity tracking or monitoring, right? There's no way you can do that.
Yeah.
So there are limitations that even if you were to ask HDB to alter the alert system that is not playing the national anthem every time the trigger is pulled, to me, it's still a limitation because if you look at the photographs I've shown you, you would see very clearly that nobody likes the pull cords.
Yeah, I believe your pictures show that people find ways and means to hide the pull cords.
Yeah,
so
some of them hide behind a clock, some of them hide behind a cabinet drawer.
Yeah.
You know?
So which kind of defeats the purpose of easy access if they need it in emergency. Yeah. Okay.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah, okay.
Like I said, I don't mean to say that HDB has done a bad job, but all I'm trying to say is that in this internet age, we need to move with the times. And I think there's enough technology, whether it's voice technology, sensor technology, app technology, you know, GPS tracking and what have you, you know, to create, you know, that kind of, you know, smart monitoring.
Yeah. Okay. Then okay, before we let you go, right? I do have one question I think from the floor that I think is quite important for everybody, for all the tech solvers. So this is from Anonymous, and it says, from your experience, right, what are the most useful stats to track? Is it the movement, the location, or the vitals? So what is the most important to track? Yeah, or most useful to track? Sorry.
Sure. Yeah, I think it is actually the movement. Because if you know there's a movement, you know that he or she is, you know, active, right? To me, all these vitals tracking, whether is it blood pressure or, you know, pulse rate or, you know, heartbeat, the elderly tends to think that this is a bit more, you know, medical based, and they say, look, you know, don't have to tell me why my heartbeat is so fast all the time. You know, I'm not interested. I'm not a, you know, triathlete. I'm not a, you know, a high performance athlete that I need to know hour by hour kind of analytics on my pulse rate, on my heart rate, and all these things. So if you ask me to rank, I think movement is more important. Location is a good to have, in the sense that, you know, you don't have to be very precise laser, you know, precision kind of GPS pinpoint. If you know that that person is in Toa Payoh Central, you know, I think it's almost good enough. Of course, now GPS technology is very definite. You know, so to me, relative to, if you ask me to choose within the three, movement is more important. Then the next one is, you know, location, and then the third one would be medical vitals.
Okay, thank you. So most important will be movement, followed by location, followed by vitals. So in priority, right. Okay, thank you much. I think that will really help a lot of our solvers to formulate their, you know, their solutions for your challenge. So thank you very much. Kwong Wing, I understand you have a big event to go to, so we're gonna let you all. Thank you very much for presenting today. Thank you, and hope to we're gonna look forward to all the exciting proposals that come in for this challenge. Okay, so thank you very much, and we'll see you soon. Thank you very much. Have a great day.
Thanks everyone.
Thank you. And ladies and gentlemen, that's it. In record time, we have gone through 5 very major presentations on the 5 big challenges in OIP Innovation Call 12. A big thank you to you for staying on this call and for posting all your questions today. Shout out to people like Amanda and Michael. Thank you very much for keeping this session very lively and for keeping our presenters on their toes. Okay, so they work very hard to answer your questions. So thank you very much. So once again, a big thank you to our speakers in today's Innovation Thursday Data Analytics edition. We had Lam Boon Soon, Assistant Vice President from Mandai Wildlife Group. We have Hyrule, Exhibition Officer at ACM. We have Ariane Low, Assistant Manager from NHB and National Heritage Board. We have Patrick Tan, Co-founder and CEO of Capital. We also had Goh Zhu Hui, Business Lead Product Launcher at NTUC Income, as well as Mr. Wang Kwong Wing, Honorary Chairman of Adventist Home for the Elder. So ladies and gentlemen, we have heard from them. We look forward to all your exciting proposals for the challenges. Once again, full details of all the challenges are on www.openinnovation.sg, including the second one from NTUC Income that we didn't have time to go through today, but it's all there. So do go through, understand what they're looking for, and tailor your proposal and your bundle of solutions, right, to meet the challenges and the requirements that they're looking for. So thank you very much, and we'll eagerly await your proposals for Innovation Call 12. Once again, the deadline for Innovation Call 12 is Friday, the 28th of January, 2022. I think it's sometime before the Chinese New Year. So there's still time for you to do a really, really good proposal for all the challenges. And I'd like to invite my colleagues to flash the slide for next the next week's webinar. Yes, medical technologies and gentlemen, next week on the 16th of December, we are hosting Innovation Thursday, the medical technologies edition. So we have very exciting challenges from, Smith plus Nephew, as well as from the International Cancer Specialist. So basically, look forward to very exciting challenges from in the medical sphere next week, 16 December, 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. as well. So if you want, we have the link to register for that. I'm going to invite my colleagues to put in the chat group as well. So thank you very much. We will look forward to seeing you next week for Innovation Thursday, Medical Technologies. This has been Billy Teo here. Once again, follow us on all our channels. Keep in touch with us via the OIP EDM. Just sign up for it. We have given the link in the chat group. And we'll see you next Thursday for the next round of Innovation Thursday. This is Billy Teo signing off and wish everybody a great week ahead and a weekend ahead, actually. Yeah, thank you very much. I'll see you next week. Bye-bye.